This is the original podcast edition of The Guild of the Cowry Catchers by Abigail Hilton, now part of the complete Pirates of Wefrevane series. The books are available as audiobooks, ebooks, and paperbacks. This podcast originally aired from 2010 to 2014. Stick around after the story for commentary from me, the author, more than a decade later. The Guild of the Cowry Catchers, a novel of pirates and Panamindorah. Written and narrated by Abigail Hilton. Book 2. Flames. Warning: this novel was intended for people who shop in the grown-up section of the bookstore. It is not intended for children or young teens. If you need to ask whether you will be offended, you probably will. Episode 5.
Hi, I'm Brian Lincoln, co-host along with Abigail Hilton, you may have heard of her, of the Fullcast podcast, which features discussions about writing and producing fullcast audiobooks like the one you're listening to now. Find out more about us at www.fullcastpodcast.com. Previously on the Cowry Catchers podcast. The Sea-Watch sailors are thrown into a panic as giant spiders pour from the secret room aboard the Water Sprite. At the same time, Gerard discovers that the prisoners have escaped and are in danger of taking both the Water Sprite and the Fang. As Gerard leaps from the Water Sprite, he is caught by a spider and dragged beneath the waves. He wakes in a cave the next day, recovering from a nasty bite. Morchella and her wyverns have rescued him, but everything has a price. Alcere locates him the next day, and they fly back to the Fang, where Gerard finds a distraught Silvio. In his determination to avenge Gerard, Silvio has used all his resources to reconstruct Gwain's movements over the past few years and analyze Gwain's book. Silvio has figured out that the book was made on a press with movable type.
Chapter 12. Reputation.
Grishnard characters are highly stylized, yet some of them are still pictures. It is interesting to note that the symbol still in use for God is recognizably a bird, surrounded by flames. Gwain, the truth about wyverns.
Gerard went to bed early that night, even though he'd been invited by Farrell to come eat in town. Silvio had announced a 10-day stay in Port Anastar and given the sailors permission to spend the time ashore when they weren't on duty. The crew was exhausted and demoralized. Over 60 Sea-Watch sailors had been killed or captured in the fight with the pirates and spiders. The watch had managed to keep only 5 fallen prisoners, 2 of which had already died of wounds. Gerard slept that night with Alcere. It was not something that he usually encouraged, because the griffin had a tendency to crowd him off the bed. However, they'd slept together as children, and Alcere's warm presence still made him feel safe. He wanted that feeling this evening. He dreamed, however, of the island and the cave. In the dream, he could see the firebird's golden feather floating in a capricious wind. He could see it from where he lay, pinned to the floor, and he knew that if he could only reach it, everything would be all right. But he couldn't reach it. Morchella was laughing at him.
Well, you like that, no matter what you say.
I didn't. My body did, but I didn't. What did you?
Asked another part of his mind.
Are you choosing or just reacting? You could have kicked her off just then. You could have.
Alcere nudged him awake several times during the night.
Gerard, you're whimpering. Gerard? What's wrong?
He got up late, feeling irritable and poorly rested. Silvio's ship's boy approached him as he came on deck.
The Admiral said to ask you to breakfast when you woke.
Gerard yawned.
Tell him I'll be there. Ask him what he's done with my clothes.
Gerard's closet had been completely empty. The boy bobbed his head. He hesitated, then said shyly,
Welcome back, sir.
Gerard smiled.
Thank you.
He racked his brain for the boy's name.
Arton.
The Admiral is nicer when you're here.
Is he?
A voice in Gerard's head insisted that this was none of his business, but curiosity won out.
In what way?
he doesn't snap so much.
Ah,
And he doesn't have nightmares.
I see.
Arden reddened.
I'm not supposed to talk about that.
Gerard frowned.
He doesn't hurt you, does he? With or without me around?
Arden glanced over his shoulder.
He doesn't. He never... Forgive me, sir. I promised I wouldn't talk about it.
Gerard nodded.
You never said a word.
When he got to Silvio's cabin, he found a table set up in the inner office and a splendid breakfast laid out on fine silver dishware.
Gerard, thin doesn't suit you. Sit. Eat. I did take your clothes. I forgot to tell you last night. Everyone thought you were dead, and I didn't want the sailors to creep off with them. Wanted to give them to Thess. Some of that stuff has really gotta go. Blood and sweat stains? Yuck. Malachi has excellent tailors. We're going shopping.
Gerard sat down and began putting food on his plate.
They were good clothes when I left Olivares. I suppose they have taken a beating in the last year.
They're fine for an overguard, but you're an officer. You need to impress. I suppose you can just loom.
Gerard smiled faintly.
I know I need new clothes, Silvio. I think Thess might have a baby next year, though, and children cost money.
Silvio stared at him.
Do you really think I would let any offspring of yours or Thess's go without necessities? Buy yourself some clothes. Thess, too. And don't worry about it.
What happened to not a nice person?
Silvio bristled.
I'm not a stupid person either. I do attempt to reward loyalty, however misguided. I'm running out of things to give you that I think you'd want.
You don't need to give me anything, Silvio.
Gerard was picking at his food. Silvio watched him.
What's wrong with you? Did you sleep last night?
I'm fine.
Silvio got up and came around the table.
You said a spider bit you? Where?
Gerard turned so that Silvio could see the back of his neck.
Good gods, Gerard.
He pulled back Gerard's collar and looked down the back of his shirt.
Forget shopping. You're going to see a healer.
I'm almost well,
protested Gerard.
I kicked down your door when I got here. I could never have done that 2 days ago. I was nearly paralyzed when they dragged me up on the beach.
Wyverns dragged you up on the beach.
Yes.
His memories of those moments were confused, dreamlike.
I don't remember much from that first day.
And after that? Who fed you? You can't have survived without water.
Silvio's bright eyes bored into his. Gerard looked away.
I told you, the priestess came. She fed me, gave me water.
There was a moment's silence. Gerard knew he was not good at deception, certainly not with Silvio.
But just let it go for once. Please, I don't want to talk about this.
Silvio sighed.
Oh, Gerard.
He drummed his fingers on the table.
I knew this was going to be a problem. Look at me.
Gerard raised his head, feeling miserable.
No choices. It will be so much easier when you figure that out. There's no such thing as honor, because honor implies choices, and you don't have many. Not about the things that matter.
Gerard said nothing. Silvio's voice softened.
You're no more to her than a little foxling to a grown Grishnard. She is stronger and older and more cunning.
Gerard looked down at the tablecloth.
I suppose I could try to pull you into the watch.
Would that make her...
Leave you alone? I doubt it. But it might make you a little harder to get at. I'm not even sure she'd let me.
Gerard swallowed.
Silvio, what you said about Arundel, did you mean... Am I...
Is she in your head?
Gerard remembered the way Morcella's voice had echoed inside his head. He shuddered.
All the time,
said Silvio patiently.
Is she in your head all the time?
No. Oh, God, Silvio, is that what you meant?
He buried his face in his hands.
I'll go mad.
No, you won't.
Silvio's voice was almost gentle.
I didn't know you well when I talked to you about her the first time. She could destroy you, but I don't think she could change you. Not to that degree. She'll get bored. She always does. She's got no reason to damage you. You're useful to her. She's just playing. She's a collector. She's a lot like me.
No, she's not.
snarled Gerard.
Don't say that, Silvio. It's not true.
Silvio shrugged.
Maybe not. She's a lot more selective than I am, although I doubt you'll take that as the compliment it is. No, you'll just have to be patient. If you wouldn't be so incorruptible, she'd get bored quicker. Right now, you're a challenge.
Gerard took a deep breath. He did actually feel better talking about it. Silvio took sex so matter-of-factly. Silvio walked back around to his side of the table and sat down. He didn't start eating, though. He folded his arms.
Gerard, about last night, I meant what I said, but...
He glanced up. Gerard looked back at him. He wasn't sure where Silvio was going with this.
You know you can't go picking me up in public, don't you? You shouldn't do it anywhere.
Gerard was confused.
You looked like you needed it.
Silvio scowled.
Have you been paying attention at all the last year? Do you think pride was the only reason I told you not to carry me onto the ship in Mance? As much time as you spend in my office, the sailors will say Silvio's found a new pet. They already would if it weren't for Thess.
Gerard reddened.
Good, I've embarrassed you. Maybe now you'll remember. I have a reputation.
Gerard's ears had settled back a little against his head.
A well-cultivated one, I know.
A well-deserved one,
growled Silvio.
Have you noticed you're a foxling?
Asked Gerard, with more than a hint of sarcasm.
Think I can't fend you off?
Silvio rolled his eyes.
Do not use my words against me. I'm better with them than you are. I'm not only talking about how I perceive you, but how others perceive you.
I've always found that consistently honest behavior will eventually be perceived for what it is.
Silvio shook his head.
Honest behavior. Reputations aren't about honest behavior. It's not important that others believe the truth. It's important that they believe what you want them to believe.
I think the truth is important.
Oh? Did you tell Morcella the truth? How important was that to her?
Gerard shut his eyes, and all the fight went out of him at once. Silvio spoke after a moment. His voice was strangely meek.
Gerard, I don't care if the sailors add you to my legend. I just thought you might.
I do care.
If it makes you feel any better, I've never had your current problem. Morcella likes cleaner things than me.
Gerard stared at him.
Your pain does not make me feel better, Silvio. How could you think so? She said that to you.
Not in so many words.
Silvio, she likes to cause pain. She told you that because she knew it would hurt.
Silvio shrugged.
She already has me. She doesn't need to do anything else.
Gerard felt suddenly angry.
She offered me your job. She'd probably let me kill you.
But he couldn't say it. It was too cruel.
She's just using you like your mother and that master of yours. She'll use you until you're used up, and then she'll throw you away.
Silvio smiled faintly.
And the way to avoid that is to remain useful.
It doesn't have to be like this.
Volunteering to fix me, Gerard?
Yes, I am. Not every power relationship is abusive.
Yes, they are.
Silvio finally seemed annoyed.
Shelts like you don't run the world. Shelts like you and Thessalon are lucky to even survive it. Morcella will protect us, which is more than I can say for those I served previously. She gave me power when I was helpless, and she's been loyal in her way. Of course, she'll discard me if I'm not useful. That's what authority does.
Gerard shook his head.
I was in authority, and it's never what I did.
And you didn't last there, did you?
Silvio's voice softened.
Eat, Gerard. I am taking you to see a healer. We're getting you some kind of sleeping draft. And then you're going back to bed.
Chapter 13. An assassin, a pirate, and a smuggler.
While foxlings are often considered second-class Grishnards in Wefravain, they receive a peculiar respect as healers. Their keen noses allow them to detect corruption in a wound long before a fawn or Grishnard would notice, and their small, nimble hands can assist in tasks ranging from difficult births to the extraction of an arrowhead from behind a rib. Gawain, the non-Grishnards of Wefervain.
Silvio was uncompromising in his pronouncement. He took Gerard into town, where a little foxling healer examined his neck and back and gave him a salve for the wound. At this point, Gerard finally thought to mention that he'd also been bitten by a wyvern, which produced a new round of exclamations, prodding, poking, and salves.
Couldn't you have found any other poisonous creatures to tangle with on Manse 94?
Asked Silvio as they started back to the ship.
Does Morchella count?
Gerard was beginning to understand why humor had been so important to Silvio as a child. Silvio laughed.
Is she the one who bit your shoulder?
Yes.
That must have hurt on top of the bruise.
It did.
Gerard finally plucked up his courage to ask something he'd been thinking about since the cave.
Silvio, have you ever thought about joining the Resistance?
He wasn't sure what he had expected. A little part of him thought that Silvio might arrest him on the spot, but after Silvio's recent behavior, Gerard doubted that. Silvio gave a nervous laugh. He glanced around.
You couldn't have picked a less public place to ask me traitorous questions?
I'm sorry.
Haven't I told you to stop that? The sticky stuff on the hidden doorknobs, I think it's rendered spider web. I think the Resistance might be catching the creatures and trying to seed our reefs with them.
They discussed this possibility until they got back to the ship. Gerard started for his own cabin, but Silvio tugged at his sleeve.
We're not finished.
So they went to Silvio's cabin instead.
Join the Resistance?
He said, when the door closed behind them.
Well, I was wondering how long it would take you to realize you're on the wrong side.
Gerard smiled.
I just wondered. I wasn't about to do anything.
Silvio climbed up and sat on his desk, putting himself closer to head height with Gerard.
I tried once.
Gerard was astonished.
You did?
Silvio nodded.
Yeah, back in my assassin days. I was angry at Morchella. We had a dispute. I don't even remember now what it was about, but she called me a squirrel.
He gave a crooked smile.
You're probably too well-bred to even know what that is.
A small, furry rodent with no schultz?
Silvio shook his head.
In the pleasure districts of CERN, when a Grishnard says he's looking for a squirrel, he means he's looking for a foxling child, particularly a white one.
Silvio waved his plume of a tail.
We're so cute and fluffy.
Gerard winced.
I was 14 at the time. She called me that, and I thought, I'll never be anything but a squirrel to you. No matter how skillful I am at my job, no matter how much I accomplish for you, you'll always know exactly how much I'm worth, down to the last cowry.
Gerard shut his eyes.
Silvio.
Silvio waved his hands.
It was long ago. I got over it. But at the time, I was upset. 14, you know. That was probably most of it. I contacted some Resistance pirates and made an arrangement to talk to them. I'd run into them before, not quite at odds, but not quite on the same side either. I knew of them.
They betrayed you?
Guessed Gerard. Silvio grimaced.
They promised me safe conduct to speak with them, and then they tried to shoot me. Nearly succeeded, too.
Zeds?
Silvio grinned.
You've seen them.
Those striped pants you like to wear.
Yep. It's not good for a professional assassin if word gets around that someone double-crossed him and got away with it. Not many Schultz ever knew about that meeting. I'm not sure whether Morchella did. If so, she decided I'd learned my lesson and never said anything about it. Never called me a squirrel again, either.
Gerard sighed.
The Resistance would never trust me, would they?
Silvio shook his head.
Once you've worked with Morchella, they just won't. You might find one or two willing to bend their rules for you, but they would always have comrades waiting to poison you or stab you. You'd be dooming yourself and Thess to certain death.
He hesitated.
Also, if you're going to leave Wefervane, you might want to wait until Marcella's interest slacks off. She can be very focused. She might hunt you.
Gerard went back to bed late that morning, as he'd been ordered. He took the medicine the foxling healer had given him, and slept deeply and dreamlessly. He woke in the early evening, feeling groggy but rested. He came on deck and was immediately greeted by several of his police, who'd come back from town to confirm the reports that he was alive. They seemed truly glad to see him, which improved Gerard's spirits. Alcere had slept with him most of the afternoon, but he hadn't been there when Gerard woke. Alcere had admitted that the flight muscle of his right wing was twinging whenever he tried to use it, a revelation that did not surprise Gerard.
You've managed better than I would have expected, but now you've got to rest that wing.
Gerard was a little annoyed to find Alcere gone from their cabin. He suspected the griffin was out flying, but then he caught sight of him near the mizzen, happily devouring the carcass of a small Pegasus.
Silvio ordered it for him,
said Farrell, coming up beside Gerard.
I'm not fond of his eating talking animals.
Farrell shrugged.
We asked what he wanted. He said a Pegasus.
Gerard decided to let it go. He leaned against the rail and watched the sailors, the few who were on duty, returning from their evening meal. They seemed relaxed and happy. Someone brought out a flute and started to play a lively tune. Silvio and Basil were up on the quarterdeck, Silvio perched on the rail and Basil leaning against it. Gerard watched them. Basil was wearing white linen, with heavy dark blue silk, trimmed with too much lace, along with gold earrings and a collection of necklaces. He contrasted sharply with Silvio's pale hair and fur.
That's the longest conversation I've seen them have in the last year,
said Farrell. He hesitated.
You know Basil was a pirate, right?
Gerard laughed.
You're joking.
No, it's true. Not a resistance pirate, of course.
Farrell grinned at the idea.
A strictly for-profit pirate. I think Silvio knew him from before. Basil came along within a year of Silvio's promotion to Admiral, and that was just as well because Lieutenant Joncel hated Silvio and didn't work well with him. Joncel disappeared, and Basil turned up.
And hopped into Silvio's bed.
Gerard didn't say it out loud, but Farrell must have guessed what he was thinking.
Silvio wouldn't do more than banter with him for the longest time. Then about 4 years ago, I don't know whether Silvio got bored or lonely, or maybe he just thought he'd try everything, but he finally made the Dark Wind his flagship and gave Basil what he wanted. They went up like a flame and crashed like a kite.
Gerard thought of Silvio's wit and Basil's perverse sense of humor.
Silver and gold. They must have been completely insufferable.
Farrell laughed.
They were, nearly. I don't know exactly what went wrong, but Silvio came back to the Fang a year later, and as far as I know, he hasn't set foot on the Dark Wind since. Apart from anything else, they don't work well together on the same ship. Basil is not willing to let Silvio take over the way I do, but he can't have been intentionally cruel or insubordinate because Silvio never tried to kill him or demote him, and he still jokes with him. He just won't be alone with him or go aboard his ship. Basil was not happy about it. He still isn't.
Gerard looked at them on the quarterdeck. Basil had a glass of blood-red wine in one hand. He was obviously telling a story, making exaggerated sweeping gestures, and Silvio was laughing.
An assassin and a pirate. I am a long way from home.
And a smuggler,
said Farrell, and smiled down at the planks.
You?
Long ago. Failed merchant turned smuggler, actually. I was always a good sailor, but not a very good business shelt. I had a family to support, and smuggling sweet leaf paid better. I unwittingly helped some resistance pirates and got into trouble with the Sea Watch. They gave me a choice, hang or join. They thought I was potentially useful enough to make the offer.
Looks like you were.
Looks like.
Some of the sailors had brought back girls with them from town. They'd brought out a stringed instrument to join the flute, and they were dancing on deck.
Silvio attracts some strange shelts to the watch. But the thing is, it works. My grandfather was in the watch, and I can tell you that it wasn't this stable for 50 years before Silvio came.
You don't have to convince me, Pharrell. I believe you.
At that moment, a little wyvern messenger flew over the side of the ship and landed on the rail beside Silvio, who turned at once to speak to it. Basil came strolling down from the quarterdeck towards Gerard and Pharrell. He had more of a prowl than a walk, and a too bright smile. He leaned on the gunwale next to Gerard, a little too close.
Well, you must be good for him. He's actually talking to me again. Do be gentle, though, Gerard. He's only a little foxling. You're a bit mismatched for size.
Gerard felt his tail lash before he had time to think about it. He was positive that Basil knew he was not sleeping with Silvio. To appear affronted would only invite further baiting. Still, if he said nothing, that might be taken for speechless indignation.
Do you know how to swim?
Basil raised an eyebrow.
Yes?
Then I suppose it wouldn't do much good to toss you overboard.
Basil laughed delightedly.
He's not a more impressive version of Arundel, then.
He said to Pharrell.
Not even close.
Good, good. Welcome to the Fang, Gerard.
I've been here for more than a year,
Thought Gerard.
I probably know the Fang better than you do.
And seriously, if you need any advice about Silvio, come and see me. I can tell you a few things that might save you some time and trouble.
Gerard passed a hand over his eyes.
Is there anything I could say to stop you from sharing?
Such as,
Continued Basil, waving his glass.
I'm not even sure he's capable of enjoying a physical relationship.
Gerard looked up at the stars.
I can't believe I'm having this conversation. Basil, I don't like boys. I am happily married, and you've had too much to drink.
Basil flipped a beringed hand.
Whatever. Thing is, though, he sends a lot of confusing signals. Most of what the other Shelts interpret as signs of pleasure from him aren't. Their pre-programmed responses, CERN really messed him up.
I could have guessed that. Are you finished?
It's all or nothing with him. Either he's throwing knives at you, or he'll let you do anything. Gods know I tried to help, but there are limits to my self-control.
A reef shark would surpass you in self-control.
He doesn't usually pick Shelts that really could hurt him. I didn't mean to.
Gerard drummed his fingers on the gunwale.
You're really not listening to me.
Basil looked at Gerard with a lazy smile.
I guess what I'm saying is, if you hurt him, I'll kill you.
Gerard blinked.
Silvio's my friend. I wouldn't hurt him.
Basil grinned and downed the last of his drink.
Good. Good. Like I said, welcome to the Fang.
Jealous,
Pronounced Pharrell as Basil walked away. Gerard's patience finally slipped.
He has nothing to be jealous of.
Pharrell looked at him sidelong.
You sure you want to be friends with Silvio then? Because you will get this sort of thing.
Gerard shut his eyes.
Well, he did try to warn me.
Silvio came down from the quarterdeck. He looked annoyed.
We're sailing tomorrow.
Pharrell frowned.
I thought we were staying here for another 8 days.
Silvio shook his head.
Send up the flag. Send out messengers too. See if you can get most of the sailors back. The rest will have to report as they're able. Mistress wants those prisoners and
His eyes flicked to Gerard.
us at home.
Gerard felt ill.
We're already under compliment. We'll lose even more when we leave here. You promised them leave, and they've gone.
I know. Just do what you can do. We should be home in time for the Moon Festival on Leclock. That at least should put them in good spirits.
Will we still be stopping by Mance?
Asked Gerard. Silvio grinned.
Of course. We couldn't leave Thess.
He turned and shouted across the deck.
Basil!
His lieutenant came sauntering back, talking to one of his captains. Basil was telling a story, and Gerard caught the end of it.
Mistress, he followed Sylvie home. Can we keep him?
Gerard felt annoyed, and he couldn't resist.
Talking about yourself?
Silvio rolled his eyes.
Don't encourage him.
Basil grinned and slapped Gerard on the back, making him grimace from his bruises.
No, but you can stay. We'll keep you, definitely. And whatever you're doing with the Admiral, you can keep on doing it.
Talking to him?
Oh, yes, converse away. I'm sure those big hands of yours don't hurt anything either.
Are you naturally this irritating, or do you put forth a special effort for me?
Basil threw an arm around his shoulders, making Gerard go instantly rigid with distaste.
Sylvie, can we keep Gerard and send Arundel back to the police?
I doubt it, but I'll ask.
Gerard smiled. It felt odd, but he was getting along with these Shelts.
I never thought I could.
He looked up, and his smile froze. Arundel had just come up the gangplank. Gerard didn't think he could have heard what the four of them were saying through the music and the thump of dancing feet. Still, he was looking at them with an expression of cold disgust. The expression cleared as he approached, and for one moment, Gerard was looking into yellow eyes that were perfectly empty. Arundel came up to them and stopped, saying nothing, and looking directly at Gerard with that emptiness radiating off him. Gerard bristled down to his tail tip. Silvio cleared his throat.
Evening, Arundel. I was just about to send someone to tell you that we're sailing tomorrow.
Arundel blinked. He glanced at Silvio.
I know. She wants those prisoners.
He turned and walked back the way he had come. Silvio scowled.
Is she telling him before me now?
Basil gave a little shudder.
Oof. If that's what it takes to be the first to know, I'd just as soon not.
Farrell was examining his fingernails.
Do you think he should have an accident?
Gerard was startled.
An assassin, a pirate, and a smuggler. Never forget what they are.
Silvio flicked his tail.
If I thought I could get away with it, I'd have done it a long time ago.
You have been listening to The Guild of the Cowry Catchers by Abigail Hilton. Copyright Abigail Hilton. Cowry Catchers is an illustrated podcast. This week's artwork was by Jason Cavella. To view these illustrations, and to learn more about this world and its author, visit the website at www.cowrycatchers.com. This podcast included the vocal talents of
Nathan Lowell
as Gerard,
Kim the comic book goddess,
as Marcella,
Norm Sherman,
as Silvio,
Chris Lester,
as Gwaine,
Ryan Stevenson,
as Alsair,
J. Daniel Sawyer,
as Basil,
Terry Mixon,
as Arundel and Farrell,
Rish Outfield,
as Arton. Sound effects for this podcast were generously provided by SoundSnap and the Free Sound Project. The intro music for this podcast was Grace by Beth Quist. The outro music is Monsters, also by Beth Quist, both licensed with permission from Magnatune.net. Music for Book 2 of Cowry Catchers included selections from Digital Juice at digitaljuice.com and Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. It also included Beth Quist, Diana Rowan, and Jamie Saber, all from Magnatune.net. All music was licensed and used according to the terms of the websites.
This is a standard copyright now. This podcast is provided for your personal enjoyment only. You can download and archive the episodes for your personal use. You may not re-upload, mirror, or publicly redistribute the audio files, nor can you alter, remix, or create derivative works. And I'm back. Brian Lincoln did the introduction to this episode. He and I did a podcast about full-cast podcasting, which he talked about in that introduction. I do not believe you can find that anymore online, unfortunately. We won a Parsec award for that. The Parsec Awards were given out every year at Dragon Con in Atlanta. They were usually hosted by Mur Laverty, and also I think Tracy Hickman, also other people. The internet informs me that they went from 2006 to 2018, so they are no longer active. But that was a really big deal in podcasting for a while. That was kind of how you knew you had done something important in fiction podcasting specifically. It was definitely a small group. It's kind of a small club. If you went and sat in the Parsec Awards, if you were a regular listener, consumer, or even a creator, somebody involved in podcasting fiction, you would often just serendipitously run into people that you had only ever heard before. You know, you would hear a familiar voice and turn around, and it would be somebody that you had listened to for hours and hours but never spoken to. And I also had that experience where people would recognize my voice and would be like, "Oh my God, you're Abby Hilton." I had a couple of fans turn up once at a Parsec Awards ceremony dressed like some of my characters, which was super, super cool. I wanted to win a Parsec Award for Cowry Catchers, but I never did. I always got beat out by slicker productions. But I did win one with Brian Lincoln for the Fullcast podcast. And that was pretty cool. I can't remember the category we won in. It was obviously a nonfiction category. It was something like podcasts that are instructional or something like that. We were talking about various aspects of Fullcast podcasting, interviewing various people from that world. And I can't honestly remember how long the Fullcast podcast stayed in existence. I don't think it was more than a couple of years. It might have been 3 years, but I think it was more like a year and a half. But anyway, that was a fun thing to do. Brian was, and I suspect still is, a very skilled sound producer. So if I could not get the noise out of somebody's lines, like the deep freeze out of the back of Kim Fortner's lines, that's Marcella, I would sometimes send them to him, and he would work on them, apply his magic. The program then that people were applying magic with was Reaper, and he would try to get the noise out of those lines. He did a lot of sound effects work for various podcasts, and there was a period of time when I was asking for help with various aspects of Cowry Catchers. I was doing all the final production. It was important to me to choose things like the music and sound effects, but I was using help occasionally to put together the voice track and to do the final edit on the voice track where you lower the breath sounds and you pull out all of the mouth noises and clicks and all this sort of thing. And I believe he was one of the people helping with that. There were several volunteers. Very skilled person, and he worked in audio for quite a while, and I have lost track of him, but I think he is probably still, in fact, I would be shocked if he was not still doing things related to audio production, audio soundscape. Back to the production of this episode, there's definitely points in here where I am bothered by the fact that, to me, the emphasis seems like it's on the wrong word. This comes directly from the fact that the voice actors are not in the same room and can't work off each other. Most of the time, I think that's not apparent at all. Most of the time, we do a pretty good job of bringing it together, or I had them redo lines if they really did not go with the other lines I had. But there's definitely points in here that I'm like, oh, if they were in the same room, they would have emphasized different words in that sentence because it would have played off the other person's performance a little bit better. But again, this was a labor of love. This is something we were all doing for fun. Nobody was getting paid. As far as the writing goes, the storytelling, there's definitely stuff in here where I think now, I could do that better. But broadly speaking, I know what I was trying to do here, in addition to dealing with abuse and all the interpersonal stuff. We've got the thing at the end of this chapter where earlier in the story, when
Gerard walks up to these guys and says something offensive and Silvio throws a knife at him, he's very much on the outside, right? He's on the outside of this group of people. He's on the outside of this organization. He is not clicking at all. He is not fitting in. Now, in this chapter, you have him and Silvio and Basil and Pharrell joking with each other inappropriately and unprofessionally. But still, they are kind of welcoming him into their group. Now, they're bad guys. Let us be clear. He is being welcomed into, I don't know, the Imperial Guard. But he is starting to get along with these people and have some sympathy for them. He's starting to understand the complex interpersonal dynamics that are going on here. And so when Arundel, who is not an insider in the same way, Arundel is an insider, but Arundel is a very particular kind of insider. He is not friends with these people. And so when he walks up and says something quasi-threatening, Gerard has that feeling of pulling back into this group that he is now part of. Because he's not an outsider now. He is actually an insider. Anyway, when I listened to it again, I was like, that's what I was trying to do as a writer. I'm very intentionally juxtaposing that scene where he's walking up to them and kind of saying mean things on purpose because he's angry, and this scene where he's being sort of welcomed into the group and feels affinity for this group of people and is no longer someone on the outside of it. Of course, that also means that he can also see all of the problems and issues with this group of people a whole lot more clearly. Anyway, I hope you are enjoying the story, and I will see you on the next episode. This is Abigail Hilton, and you have been listening to the Pirates of Wefravain saga. Join me on Patreon for early episodes, long-form interviews, forum access, personal updates, and lots of artwork, including maps and species charts. That's patreon.com/Abigail Hilton. If you want the whole story now with no interruptions and some remastering of the early books for sound quality, you can find the entire series at shop.abigailhilton.com, along with all my other novels. The audiobooks are delivered by BookFunnel. Background music was Hidden Sky by Jamie Sieber, licensed from Magnatune.net circa 2014. The Guild of the Cowry Catchers podcast is an audio adaptation of the Pirates of Wefravain saga, written and produced by Abigail Hilton. Original production copyright 2010. All rights are reserved to the author.